I overheard my wife's friend coaching her to cheat and find a richer man, so I canceled every credit card filed for divorce and left her boxes waiting outside. I, 29, male, have been a firefighter for 6 years now. My wife, Penelope, 27, female, works part-time at some fancy boutique downtown. We have been married 4 years together, 6 total. Up until this mess, I thought we had a pretty solid thing going. Here is what you need to understand about Penelope. She has always been into expensive stuff, designer bags, high-end makeup, wants to eat at trendy restaurants. I do not mind it because honestly, I love the girl. And if buying her nice things makes her happy, then whatever. I work overtime when I can pick up extra shifts, and we usually manage to afford most of what she wants. So her best friend Charlotte comes to visit from Phoenix last week. They have been tight since college. And honestly, I have never been a huge fan of this chick. She is one of those girls constantly posting motivational quotes on social media about knowing your worth and never settling for less than you deserve. Real Instagram influencer wannabe energy. Charlotte was supposed to stay for a long weekend, Friday through Monday. She has family in our area, but this time wanted to stay with us to catch up properly with Penelope. Fine, whatever. We have a guest room. The whole weekend had this weird energy. Charlotte kept making pointed comments about relationships and what women deserve. Stuff like how some men do not appreciate what they have, or how women should not settle for less than they are worth, all while looking right at me like she was trying to make some kind of point. Penelope was acting different too, quieter around me but more animated when talking to Charlotte, like she was hearing things that were making her think about stuff she had never considered before. I could tell Charlotte was filling her head with ideas, but I figured it was just typical girlfriend drama that would blow over. Then Thursday night happened. I am in the kitchen grabbing some water after my shift when I hear them talking in the living room. They must have thought I was upstairs because they were not being quiet about it. That is when I heard Charlotte start in on this whole speech about how Penelope deserves someone who is more willing to invest in her. She starts asking, "When is the last time I bought Penelope something really nice? Something that shows I value her?" Which is ridiculous because I literally just bought her that necklace 2 weeks ago. But Penelope is going along with it, saying how it is always such a big deal when she wants something and how she has to justify every purchase. This is total bullshit, by the way. We talk about bigger purchases because that is what married couples do. But I have never said no to anything she has really wanted. The woman has more designer stuff than she knows what to do with because I keep buying it for her. But Charlotte is not done. She starts talking about her ex and how he used to make her feel guilty for wanting nice things. Then she drops this line about how there are men out there who will gladly spoil the right woman, and you just have to be willing to find them. The way she said find them made my stomach drop. She was not talking about leaving me and then finding someone new. She was talking about finding someone while still married to me. That is when the conversation got really ugly. Charlotte starts coaching Penelope on how to handle this whole situation. Tells her she should tell me she needs space to think about our relationship. Go stay somewhere else for a week. Let me sweat it out while she explores her options. I could not make out everything they were saying after that, but I caught bits and pieces. Something about how I had gotten too comfortable, how I needed a wake-up call to realize what I was about to lose. Charlotte kept pushing this idea that Penelope should make me sweat while she figured out what she really wanted. The manipulation was disgusting. Charlotte is telling my wife that smart women always have backup plans, and that sometimes men need wake-up calls to realize what they are about to lose, making it sound like I was the problem for not spoiling Penelope enough when the truth is I bend over backwards for that woman. I had heard enough, so I went upstairs. But I could not sleep. The whole conversation kept playing in my head. The way Charlotte pushed Penelope toward finding someone else. The way she made cheating sound like some kind of empowering choice. It felt planned, like they had been discussing this for longer than just that weekend. The worst part was listening to Penelope go along with it all. Yeah, Charlotte was the one doing most of the talking, but my wife was not exactly putting up much resistance. She seemed genuinely interested in this plan to disappear for a week and explore her options with whoever Charlotte had in mind. I kept thinking about all the money I had spent on her lately. The necklace, the purse, the Sephora hauls, dinners at expensive restaurants she wanted to try. Apparently, none of that mattered because Charlotte convinced her she deserved more. Well, she was about to find out what exploring her options would cost her, because there was no way I was going to sit around waiting while my wife played games with our marriage. I just did not know yet how deep this rabbit hole was going to go. The next morning, Penelope is acting all weird at breakfast. She is doing that thing where she is clearly working up to saying something, but keeps chickening out. Keeps opening her mouth like she is about to talk, then just takes another sip of coffee instead. I can tell something is coming. I am trying to eat my eggs and get ready for my shift, but she is making me nervous with all this fidgeting. Finally, right as I am about to grab my keys and head out the door, she drops it on me. Oliver, I think I need some time off from us. You know, I am going to go stay with Charlotte for a while. I just stared at her for a second. After what I heard last night, this should not have been a surprise, but hearing her actually say it still hit me like a truck. What do you mean, time off? I mean, I need space to think about our relationship, about whether this is really what I want. She will not even look at me when she says it, just stares down at her coffee cup like it is the most interesting thing in the world. Charlotte has been helping me realize that maybe I have been settling. There is that word, settling, the same one Charlotte was feeding her last night. Settling for what exactly? I work so hard, I treat her good, I buy her whatever she wants. What the hell is she settling for? Settling for what, Penelope? What exactly am I not giving you? She gets this defensive look on her face. It is not about one specific thing, Oliver. It is about feeling valued, feeling like my husband actually wants to invest in our future together. I wanted to laugh at that. Invest in our future. I wanted to argue, but honestly, I was too shocked. Plus, part of me was like, fine, if she wants to act like being married to me is some kind of burden, maybe she should see what it is like without me. So I just said, okay. The look on her face told me she was expecting more of a fight, like she wanted me to beg her to stay or promise to change or something. When I did not give her the reaction she was looking for, she seemed almost disappointed. That is it? Just, okay? What do you want me to say, Penelope? If you need space to figure out if you want to be married to me, then go figure it out. I am not going to sit here and convince you that I am worth staying with. She packed a bag that afternoon while I was at work. When I got home, half her stuff was gone from the bathroom, and there was this awkward silence in the house. She was sitting on the couch with her suitcase by the door, waiting for Charlotte to pick her up. I will call you in a few days, she said when Charlotte's car pulled up outside. Sure, I said, but I was thinking about what I had overheard the night before about how this whole thing was Charlotte's idea to make me sweat. While Penelope explored her options with other men, she gave me this weird half-hug goodbye like she was not sure if she should or not. Then she was gone. I watched Charlotte's car drive off and had this sick feeling in my stomach that this was not really about needing space to think. This was about something else entirely. The first couple days, I was actually kind of relieved. The house was quiet. I could watch whatever I wanted on TV without hearing about how some reality show was so good and I just had to see it. I did not have to listen to Charlotte's annoying laugh or her lectures about what women deserve. Monday, I went to work and tried to focus on the job, but my head was not really in it. I kept thinking about what I had overheard Thursday night. The next morning, I am paying bills and decide to check our joint credit card statement. Figured I should probably keep an eye on spending while Penelope is having her little crisis. She usually handles the money stuff, but I wanted to make sure we were not going over budget with whatever she was buying during her thinking time. That is when I saw the charges that made my blood run cold. Friday night, $180 at some fancy steakhouse downtown. I had never heard of the kind of place where a single meal costs more than I usually spend on groceries for a week. Saturday, $340 at a hotel. Sunday, $67 at some upscale brunch place. All of them local, all of them expensive. All of them for amounts that suggested two people, not one woman, having a quiet weekend to think about her marriage. But Charlotte was supposedly from Phoenix and staying with family. Why would they need a hotel? And why was Penelope dropping this kind of cash when she just spent the last month complaining that I do not buy her enough expensive stuff? I stared at that statement for probably 10 minutes trying to make sense of it. Maybe Charlotte was paying her back for covering their meals. Maybe the hotel charge was a mistake, but deep down I knew what I was looking at. My wife was not staying with Charlotte thinking about our marriage. She was staying at hotels with someone else, living it up on our credit card while I sat at home missing her like an idiot. The disrespect of it made me physically sick. She could not even use her own money to cheat on me. She had to put it on our joint card like I was funding my own humiliation. Wednesday morning, my phone buzzes with a notification that made my hands shake. Venmo alert. Penelope had received $95 from someone named Mike R. with a note that said dinner and movie last night. I screenshot that immediately because I knew she would delete it once she realized I could see it. My hands were literally trembling as I stared at my phone screen dinner and movie with some dude named Mike while she is supposed to be taking space to think about our marriage. And he sent money with a heart emoji. This was not some innocent friend helping split a check. This was a guy paying for a date with my wife. I sat in my truck in the station parking lot feeling like I was going to throw up. This was not about needing space or feeling undervalued. This was about my wife having a full-blown affair and using our joint accounts to fund it. I called my buddy James, who is a lawyer. We went through the academy together, and he owes me a favor from when I helped him move last year. I need to ask you something hypothetical, I said when he picked up. If someone's spouse was using joint credit cards to fund an affair, what would that mean in a divorce? Long pause. Oliver, what is going on, man? So I laid it all out for him. James listened without interrupting. Brother, I am sorry that is rough, he said when I finished. But to answer your question, using marital assets to fund an extramarital affair is definitely something a divorce court would be interested in, especially if you have got documentation. I've been screenshotting everything. Good, keep doing that. And Oliver, you might want to think about protecting yourself financially. Remove her access to accounts. Cancel joint credit cards. If she is spending your money on another man, you need to stop the bleeding. After we hung up, I sat there thinking about what James said. Part of me wanted to confront Penelope immediately, to call her and demand she explain what the hell she thought she was doing. But another part of me wanted to see how far she would take this. How long was she planning to keep this up? Was she going to come home next week and pretend like she had been doing some deep soul-searching when really she had been playing house with another man? That evening I got a text from her. Still working through some things, probably need the rest of the week. I stared at that message for a long time before responding. Take all the time you need. What I really wanted to say was, I know about Mike, you cheating piece of shit, but I held back, let her dig her hole deeper. Let her think she was being clever while I gathered evidence of what she was really up to. That afternoon, I ran into my coworker Tommy at the grocery store. We were talking about some new equipment when he gets this weird look on his face. Hey man, weird question, but is Penelope seeing someone, he asks? My blood went cold. What do you mean? Well, my girlfriend Lisa was at the mall yesterday and she saw Penelope with some guy. She said they were definitely together, like holding hands and kissing and stuff. Lisa was not sure if you guys had split up or what, so she asked me to check with you. There it was. Visual confirmation of what I already knew in my gut. My wife was not just texting and splitting hotel bills with this Mike guy, she was full-on acting like his girlfriend in public. What did this guy look like? I managed to ask. I do not know. Lisa just said he was tall, brown hair, looked like he had money. They were coming out of that expensive jewelry store. You know, the one with all the fancy watches. The jewelry store. While she is supposedly taking time to think about whether I buy her enough nice things, she is shopping for jewelry with another man. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I thanked Tommy and got out of there as fast as I could. Drove straight home and started making more phone calls. This was about to end, and it was not going to end the way Penelope thought it would. She wanted to explore her options. Fine. She was about to find out what her options really looked like. 2 days later, James calls me back and says he can have divorce papers ready by Monday if I want them. The way he said it, I could tell he was trying to give me time to change my mind, but my mind was already made up. Do it, I tell him. Adultery, irreconcilable differences, whatever you need to put in there. You sure about this, Oliver? Once we file, there is no taking it back. Maybe you should try talking to her first. I almost laughed at that. Talk to her about what? About how she has been lying to my face for a week while being with another man? About how she has been using our money to pay for hotel rooms with her boyfriend? She made her choice when she decided to cheat. I am just making mine. I took Friday off work and spent the morning at the bank. Walked right up to the counter and told them I needed to remove my wife's name from our joint checking account. The teller looked at me like I was crazy. Sir, you will need your wife's signature to make changes to a joint account. What if I close this account and open a new one in just my name? She thought about it for a second. Well, you could do that, but you would need to transfer the funds yourself. So, that is exactly what I did. Moved every penny from our joint account into a new account with just my name on it. Then, I went to customer service and canceled our joint credit card, the one Penelope had been using to fund her little vacation with Mike. The whole process took about 2 hours. By lunchtime, Penelope was completely cut off from our money. Let us see how much Mike was willing to spend on my wife when she could not put it on my credit card anymore. I also took the day to start packing up all of Penelope's stuff, and all the expensive stuff I had bought her over the years. Thousands of dollars worth of stuff I had bought to make her happy. And apparently, none of it was enough because she still went looking for someone else to spoil her. That afternoon, my parents called to check on me. I had not told them about Penelope asking for space because I did not want them worrying. But now I figured they should know what was going on. She what? My mom says when I explain the situation. So I tell them everything, the conversation I overheard, the hotel charges, the Venmo payments from Mike, Tommy seeing her with another guy at the mall. Mom gets quiet for a long time. Honey, I am so sorry. What are you going to do? I am filing for divorce on Monday. I already talked to James. Dad gets on the phone and he is pissed. That girl has lost her damn mind. Oliver, you are a good man. You work hard. You treat her right. If that is not enough for her, then she does not deserve you. It felt good to hear that, honestly, because part of me had been wondering if maybe I really was not good enough. Like, maybe I should have been buying her more expensive stuff, or taking her on fancier trips. But my parents reminded me that I have always treated her right. "You want us to come over and help?" Mom asks. "No, I have it handled, but thanks." Saturday, I am still packing when I get a text from Penelope. "Having a really good time with Charlotte. This break is exactly what I needed. How are you doing?" The casual tone of that message made me want to throw my phone against the wall. Having a good time with Charlotte. We both know that is a lie. She is having a good time with Mike while I am at home packing up her stuff and preparing divorce papers. Then I finished packing everything. Her whole life fit into about 15 boxes, which seemed kind of sad when I thought about it. 4 years of marriage reduced to cardboard boxes stacked in the living room. I also spent Sunday changing the locks on the house. By Sunday night, I had everything ready. Divorce papers were being finalized, her stuff was packed, money was protected, locks were changed. All I had to do was wait for her to come home, expecting to have some big conversation about working things out. She had no idea what was waiting for her. Monday morning, James texts me. "Papers are ready. You want me to serve them or you want to do it yourself?" "I will handle it," I text back. I picked up the papers from his office during lunch. Felt weird seeing our marriage reduced to legal paperwork, but that is what it had come to. Then I got another text from Penelope. "I think I am ready to come home and talk. Can we sit down tomorrow evening and discuss everything?" Perfect timing, sure. Come by around 6 o'clock. She texts back a heart emoji like we are just going to sit down and work everything out like adults. Like she has not been living in hotels with another man for the past week. Well, we were definitely going to talk, just not the conversation she was expecting. Tuesday, I took another day off work. Spent the morning double-checking that I had everything ready. Boxes by the door, divorce papers in a folder, new locks installed. She was about to learn how wrong she was about that. 6 o'clock rolls around and I see Charlotte's car pull up outside. I am standing by the front window watching Penelope get out of the passenger seat, looking all casual like she has just been on vacation. She has got this little smile on her face and she is wearing clothes I do not recognize. Probably bought them with Mike's money since I cut off her access to our accounts. She walks up to the front door and tries her key. When it does not work, she looks confused for a second, then rings the doorbell. I wait about 10 seconds before opening it. She tries to give me a hug and says something about her key not working. I do not hug her back, just step aside and gesture toward the living room where all her boxes are stacked up. The look on her face when she sees those boxes is something I will never forget. Pure shock, like someone just slapped her. She asks what all this stuff is, and I can hear her voice change from casual to panicked in about 2 seconds. I tell her it is her stuff, and hand her the folder with divorce papers. She just stares at it like she cannot process what she is seeing, opens it up, and her face goes completely white as she reads the first page. She starts trying to play dumb, asking what I am talking about, claiming she has been staying with Charlotte the whole time. The lies come so easily to her, it is almost impressive. Even caught red-handed, she is still trying to sell me this story about soul-searching and figuring things out. That is when I drop Mike's name on her. Tell her I know about the Venmo payments, the hotels, Tommy seeing them together at the mall. The panic in her eyes when I say Mike's name tells me everything I need to know. She sits down hard on the couch like her legs just gave out. The divorce papers scatter on the floor. Then she starts with the excuses and the blame shifting. How this was all Charlotte's idea to make me fight harder for our marriage. How Mike was just different from me, more willing to spend money without making it a big deal. I wanted to laugh at that. This jerk has been trying to steal my wife. Of course, he is going to throw money around to impress her. That is not romance. That is just strategy. But apparently Penelope was too stupid to see the difference. She tries to minimize it, calling it a mistake, saying they just connected and it was not supposed to go this far. Like, cheating on your husband is something that just happens accidentally, like you can just slip and fall onto another man's dick in a hotel room. Then comes the begging, real pathetic stuff about how she realizes she messed up and how much she loves me and how we can work through this together. But every time she talks, all I can think about is that week of hell she put me through while she was playing house with Mike. Please, I will never see him again. I will block his number. I will do whatever you want, she says through tears. What I want is for you to leave. Your stuff is packed. The papers are signed. We are done. She actually has the nerve to say, I cannot throw away 4 years of marriage over one mistake. One mistake. This was not some drunken kiss at a party. This was weeks of planning with Charlotte, lying to my face, using our money to fund an affair, and then coming home expecting me to just accept it. When I tell her about canceling the credit card and removing her from our bank account, the look on her face is priceless. Like she never considered there might be consequences for her actions. Oliver, you cannot cut me off financially. I am your wife, she says. Not for much longer. Every dollar you spent on hotels with Mike came out of money I earned working overtime. She keeps asking where she is supposed to go, and I tell her to call Mike. If he was such a great guy who treated her so much better than I did, surely he would have room for her. The whole conversation probably lasted about 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. Watching someone you thought you knew reveal themselves to be a completely different person is exhausting. This was not the woman I married. The woman I married would not have been capable of this level of deception and selfishness. What really got to me was how she kept trying to make it sound like this was somehow my fault, like I drove her to cheat by not buying her enough expensive things or not making her feel special enough, as if working overtime to afford her designer purses and jewelry was not enough effort on my part. The entitlement was breathtaking. She genuinely seemed to believe that she deserved to explore other options while keeping me as backup. Like marriage was some kind of trial period where she could shop around for better offers and come back if nothing else worked out. She kept asking where she was supposed to go, and I told her to call Mike. If he was such a great guy who treated her so much better than I did, surely he would have room for her. The crying and begging got worse as reality set in. She realized she had gambled our entire marriage on some guy, and now she was losing everything. But that was her choice to make, and these were the consequences. I went back inside and locked the door behind me. She pounded on it for a few minutes, making one last desperate attempt to get me to change my mind, but I just turned up the TV and waited for her to leave. Eventually, I heard Charlotte's car start up and drive away. The house went quiet for the first time in over a week, but it was not the peaceful quiet I had been expecting. It was the kind of quiet that comes after a disaster, when you are left standing in the wreckage trying to figure out what the hell just happened. That is when my phone started ringing and I knew the real drama was just getting started. First call is from her mom, which I should have seen coming. Penelope probably called her crying the second she got in Charlotte's car. Her mom has always had this fake sweet voice that she uses when she is trying to manipulate someone. Tonight it is working overtime. Oliver, sweetie, Penelope told me you two are having some problems. I really think you are overreacting to this whole thing. Overreacting? That is rich coming from a woman whose daughter just spent a week cheating on me with another man using our joint credit card. She has been having an affair. That is not a problem. That is a deal breaker. Now that is not fair. She is just confused right now. She needs support, not ultimatums. Marriage is about working through the hard times together. I want to explain about the hotel charges and the Venmo payments from Mike, but I realize it will not matter. Penelope's family has always thought she could do better than a firefighter anyway. The conversation goes on for about 10 minutes with her mom trying every guilt trip in the book. How marriage takes work. How young people today give up too easily. How I should think about this more carefully before making any permanent decisions. What she does not understand is that I did think about it. I thought about it every time I saw a new hotel charge on our credit card. I thought about it when I found out some guy named Mike was paying for my wife's dinners. I thought about it when Tommy told me he saw her holding hands with another man at the mall. I listen politely and then tell her I need to go. She keeps trying to convince me to wait, to give Penelope more time to consider counseling. Like counseling is going to fix the fact that my wife lied to my face for a week while being with another guy. 20 minutes later, her dad calls. He is more direct than his wife, but just as delusional about what happened. Oliver, I know Penelope made some mistakes, but you cannot just throw away 4 years of marriage without trying to work things out. Some mistakes, like cheating on your husband, is equivalent to forgetting to take out the trash. He goes on about how Penelope has always been impulsive, and how she probably just got caught up in some fantasy that did not mean anything. How I should be the bigger man and forgive her because that is what husbands do. The bigger man, right? Because apparently being the bigger man means letting your wife walk all over you while she explores her options with other guys. Then her brother calls and basically tells me I am being dramatic and should man up and fight for my marriage. This is the same brother who works in marketing for some tech company and thinks he is better than everyone because he makes 6 figures pushing products nobody needs. Look, Oliver, I get that you are upset, but Penelope is a catch. If you do not fight for her, someone else will. Someone else already did. I want to tell him his name is Mike and he has been doing it for the past week while your sister was supposed to be thinking about our marriage, but I do not bother explaining because he would not get it anyway. In his mind, this is all just some relationship drama that can be fixed with flowers and a nice dinner. He has no clue what it is like to find out the person you trusted most in the world has been lying to your face and spending your money on another man. The calls keep coming throughout the evening. Penelope's aunt, a couple of her cousins, even her grandmother calls to tell me I am making a mistake. It is like they all got together and decided to stage an intervention to save Penelope from the consequences of her own actions. Every conversation follows the same pattern. They start by acknowledging that Penelope made some mistakes, but then spend 20 minutes explaining why I should forgive her, how marriage is hard work, how everyone deserves a second chance, how I am being too harsh. What none of them seem to understand is that this was not one mistake. This was a series of deliberate choices Penelope made over weeks or maybe even months. She chose to listen to Charlotte's toxic advice. She chose to lie to me about needing space. She chose to meet up with Mike. She chose to spend our money on hotel rooms where she could cheat on me. She chose to come home expecting me to just accept it all. Those were not mistakes. Those were decisions. And decisions have consequences. Around 9 p.m., my parents called to check on me. The difference in their reaction is night and day compared to Penelope's family. "How are you holding up, son?" Dad asks. "I am okay. Pissed off, but okay." "Good. You should be pissed off. What she did was unforgivable." Mom gets on the phone and she is crying a little. "Honey, I am so sorry this happened to you. You did not deserve this." That is when I almost lose it. After 3 hours of Penelope's family telling me I'm overreacting and being too harsh, hearing my parents validate what I am feeling hits different. I just cannot believe she threw it all away. I tell them some people do not know how good they have it until it is gone. Dad says, "You treated her like a queen and she still went looking for something else. That is on her, not you." We talk for another 1 hour about everything that happened. I tell them about the conversation I overheard between Penelope and Charlotte, about finding the credit card charges, about the Venmo payments from Mike. They are as disgusted as I am by the whole thing. After I hang up with my parents, the house goes quiet again. It is weird how different it feels now compared to when Penelope first left. Then I was missing her and hoping she would come to her senses. Now I am just relieved she is gone. My phone buzzes with a text from James. "How did it go?" "She is gone. Served her with papers and packed her stuff. It is done." "Good for you, man. You did the right thing." The right thing? Yeah, it was the right thing. But it still sucks. 4 years of marriage, 6 years together total. And it all ended because my wife decided some finance bro with expensive taste was worth more than our relationship. Then about 1 hour later, I get a call from a number I do not recognize. When I pick up, it is Charlotte. "This should be interesting. Oliver, we need to talk," she says. And her voice has this edge to it like she is trying to sound tough. "Actually, we do not. You helped my wife cheat on me. We have nothing to talk about." "You're being ridiculous. Penelope was just confused and needed someone to talk to. Mike was just a friend helping her through a rough time." "Just a friend, right? Friends do not split hotel bills and send money with heart emojis on Venmo. Charlotte, you literally coached her on how to lie to me while she had an affair. You told her to make me sweat while she explored other options. I heard the whole conversation." There is a long pause. I can practically hear her trying to figure out how much I actually know. "That is not fair. You are twisting what happened. Penelope was unhappy in your marriage and I was just helping her figure out what she wanted." "You know what, Charlotte? You did me a favor. Now I know exactly what kind of person my wife really is and what kind of friend you are too." I hang up on her before she can respond. Let her and Penelope figure out their own mess. I am done being part of their drama. I look around the house and realize I need to start thinking about what comes next. Do the first stay here or sell the place? Do I keep working at the same station or transfer somewhere else? Do I start dating again or just focus on rebuilding my life? One thing I know for sure, I am never again going to be with someone who does not appreciate what they have. Life is too short to waste on people who think the grass is always greener somewhere else. Penelope made her choice. Now she gets to live with